This is FMC Carswell. It's called a medical center, but women are dying inside it. It was supposed to be the best medical prison for women in the entire United States. If this already has your attention, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. What comes next gets darker. Fort Worth, Texas. On the land of an old Air Force base, there is a prison unlike any other in America. FMC Carswell, a federal medical center. And here is what makes it different from every other federal prison in this country. It is the only federal medical prison for women. One. That's it. The whole United States. One facility. That means if a woman in the federal system gets seriously sick, cancer, kidney failure, a mental breakdown, she gets sent here. It does not matter if she lives in Alaska or Florida. It does not matter if her family is thousands of miles away. There is only one place she can go. The prison opened in 1994. It was designed to hold around 600 women. At its peak, it held over 1,600. Think about that. More than twice the number it was built for. The official promise was simple. These women would get the best medical care in the federal system. That was the deal. That was the reason this place existed. But inside those walls, something went very wrong. And it went wrong for a very long time. Martha Perez was 59 years old. She had kidney failure. She had diabetes. She had heart problems. She needed dialysis, a treatment that cleans your blood when your kidneys can't do it anymore. Miss one session, you get very sick. Miss enough of them, you die. FMC Carswell is the only federal women's prison with dialysis machines on site, so Martha was there. She had no other option. She called her daughter. She was gasping for breath. She had missed dialysis treatments. According to her family, this happened again and again. Martha Perez died in June 2023. She is not alone. Investigators who obtained internal prison records found that between 2015 and 2020, at least 3 women who were sent to Carswell specifically for dialysis treatment developed a deadly blood infection called sepsis and died. Sepsis during dialysis is largely preventable. It happens when machines are not clean, when protocols are not followed. 3 women, dead, from a condition that is supposed to be prevented by basic hygiene. The Bureau of Prisons, the government agency that runs this facility, refused to answer questions about these deaths. They refused interviews. And when a legal organization sued to obtain the prison's own internal death review records, a federal judge sided with the prison. The records stayed hidden. America's only federal medical prison for women was keeping its own death records secret. Here is something that sounds impossible, but it is in court records, so it happened. A woman named Suzanne K. was being sentenced. The medical director of FMC Carswell, the top doctor, personally appeared before the judge and gave his word. He promised the judge he would personally see to her care. Within 2 months, Suzanne was rushed to an outside hospital in an emergency. Twice, she suffered cardiac arrest. She developed blood clots that nobody was monitoring. The medical director was later asked about this in open court. His answer on the record, "That was my mistake. A personal promise. 2 emergency hospitalizations. A cardiac arrest. Blood clots undetected. That was my mistake," and Carswell kept operating. Over a 7-year period, 7 staff members at FMC Carswell were convicted of sexually abusing prisoners. In 2000, a corrections officer raped a prisoner. She kept her clothes as evidence and turned them in. He was convicted and sentenced to over 12 years. In 2007, a prison chaplain, a man of faith hired to provide spiritual care, pleaded guilty to sexually abusing 2 inmates. 4 years. In 2017, a case manager forced a female prisoner to perform multiple sex acts. 1 year. A Fort Worth newspaper spent months analyzing federal data. Their finding: FMC Carswell had the highest rate of sexual assault allegations of any federal women's prison in the country from 2014 to 2018, and the highest number of allegations specifically against staff members. 35 women reported being sexually assaulted by staff in just those 4 years. Advocates say most women never report at all, because when they do, they are often placed in solitary confinement, cut off from their families, isolated, which is exactly why many stay silent. The question nobody in charge has publicly answered: how does a prison with this many convictions keep getting staff members who do the same thing? Comment below. Did you know any of this was happening? Type yes or no. We read every single comment. Spring 2020. COVID-19 is spreading across the world. Prisons are especially dangerous. People packed close together, limited medical staff, no way to leave. Andrea Circle-Bear was 30 years old. She was Native American. She was pregnant. She was serving a 26-month sentence on a drug charge in South Dakota, far from FMC Carswell. Despite the growing outbreak, she was transferred to Carswell. On April 1, 2020, she gave birth by emergency surgery. 4 days later, she tested positive for COVID. She was put on a ventilator. She was in an induced coma. Her family later alleged something disturbing, that while Andrea was unconscious and on a ventilator, her medical records were altered, changed, to make her condition look less serious than it was. On April 28, 2020, Andrea Circle-Bear died. She became the first woman to die in federal custody from COVID-19. She was 30 years old. She had just given birth. Days before Andrea was even diagnosed, a prison union leader had already filed a formal whistleblower complaint. She said the Bureau of Prisons was knowingly misleading the American public about COVID conditions at Carswell. Nobody was held accountable. The Bureau of Prisons declined to comment. People inside this prison tried to warn the public more than once. In April 2020, right as COVID spread through the facility, a union president filed a federal whistleblower complaint against prison leadership. In July 2022, another union president filed a separate complaint. This one accused leadership of corruption, misconduct, and cover-ups. One specific allegation: a staff member reported being harassed, filed a report, and a manager deleted the reports. Then that same staff member was sent right back to the same unit where it happened. Investigative reporters from local newspapers tried to get answers. The Bureau of Prisons refused interviews. They refused to answer specific questions. A legal organization went to court for internal death review documents the prison created about its own patients' deaths. A federal judge ruled those documents did not have to be released. Then there is this. FMC Carswell lost its official medical accreditation during the COVID-19 pandemic. The accreditation that certified it as a legitimate medical facility, gone. And yet it remained open. It remained the only place for women in the federal system who needed serious medical care. A Texas congressman wrote a letter demanding a congressional hearing, calling what was happening horrors in our own backyard. As of the most recent reporting, no hearing had taken place. Prisons can make people invisible. Numbers replace names. Reports replace faces. So before we close, here are names. Martha Perez, 59 years old, kidney failure. Called her daughter gasping for air. Died June 2023. Andrea Circle-Bear, 30 years old, pregnant. Transferred during a pandemic. Died April 28, 2020. Linda Fenton. Died under circumstances her family never accepted. A second autopsy commissioned by her family suggested a possible physical struggle. She had reportedly told family she planned to report what she witnessed inside the prison when she got out. She never got out. 3 women, 3 stories, 1 prison. The only one. FMC Carswell is still open right now. Women are still being sent there today. Some of them are sick. Some of them are scared. And because there is no other facility, they have no choice. The Bureau of Prisons still will not answer basic questions about deaths inside its walls. The records are still sealed. The hearings still have not happened. The only thing that has changed is that more people now know the name. FMC Carswell. Remember it. If this documentary opened your eyes, subscribe so you don't miss what we uncover next. Share this with someone who needs to see it. The more people who know, the harder it becomes to look away.